Now, the next part of your email is probably the most pedantic that I can be. That's the subject. So, what is your email about? It's the first element that somebody on the other end will see about your email. So, I have a very specific way that I like my students to send me emails in terms of subject. And even other lecturers think that I'm just super pedantic about the way it is. But if you remember a few minutes ago, I said your ability to craft or develop an email could be the difference between getting a CV accepted or not being accepted. So at least appreciating and understanding why you would craft a subject correctly is important. It at least puts across the idea that you know what you're talking about. So in terms of a subject for any email, I also mentioned that I teach on many programs, I teach on many modules in those programs. So if a student emails me, I would like to know what program they're from and what module that the email relates to at a minimum. I also want to know what the email is about as well. So all of that can be wrapped up into the subject. Now, how you do that is three different parts, and I'm very particular about the way I like those parts separated. So the first component of the subject should always be your program code. So not the program name. So a program name might be mechanical engineering or sports science. That's the name. But we all programs in TU Dublin have a code. So it might be TU811 or DT003A or DT125. They're the codes. But each code also has multiple years. So in a different video, I'm going to talk about why I don't use the slash symbol to separate the program code and the year. But if you are a second year mechanical engineer, level 8, it might be DT022-2. And the hyphen is a separator between the program and the year, and the number after the hyphen is the year number. So first, second, third, fourth, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that little small portion at the very beginning tells me straight away what program you are from. Then we need to look at what module you're from. Because like I said, I teach multiple modules in the same year of the same program in certain cases. So if a student just emails me the year code, it doesn't mean that I know what module is about, because it could be a query about an assignment or a room location or an exam question, whatever it is. But I want to know what the module is. So we need the module next. So we go program code, then module name. So the module name is the module name. It could be communications, it could be science, it could be theoretical physics, it could be anything. But each module that you take, and normally you take 6 per semester, each of those has a very specific name. In a case where a module name is really long, maybe 30 or 40 characters, it's a quite substantial name, you could abbreviate it to the acronym of that module. I take that on board, or I use that quite often. That then, if you use the program in your code, the module name, I now have an idea of where that email is coming from. Again, a point that I didn't mention as well, because I have so many students, I don't necessarily know every student's name. So just seeing an email from a particular student doesn't mean that I instantaneously know who that student is, and I have to figure it out in my own head where they're coming from. So by you adding those identifiers in your subject, straight away focuses me on, yes, I know it's Mary from this class, or it's Joe from that class. We then also need to tell me why you emailed me in something very, very short and sweet. So it could be something like a query on assignment 1, apologies for being late to class, a query on exam times. So a very, very brief statement on why you're emailing. And when you add up all the 3 components of that particular subject, I then know straight away, because I can see in my email who it's from, because it will come up saying it's from Mary. Then it will have a subject that tells me the program they're from, the module, and why they are emailing me. And then straight away in my inbox, I'll know whether it's an urgent query or it's a query that I look at tomorrow. I don't have to take instant action, or maybe I do have to take instant action. Maybe there's something really important, and that subject should tell me. Okay, it will help me to understand why you have emailed me. So there are some mistakes, for want of a better phrase, that students make. they don't put in the program code or the module name, and they might just say query on assignment 2. That might be the subject. But I have loads of modules and I issue loads of assessments, so I don't know. So then I have to go in and check. And if every student did that, I have to check my emails so often to make sure that there's nothing critical or urgent that I need to take care of. If you forget the subject, if you if you forget the explanation, I don't know why you're emailing me. It just comes up with an email from this program and this module, but no other explanation. Again, I don't know if it's an urgent query or something that I can put on the, not the long finger, but look at it later on in the afternoon, whatever it may be. So that construction, I think, is very important. Also, the spacing of the names. There are no spaces between the program name and the program year, but there is a space between the program year and the module name. And then after the module name, we go space hyphen space. It just gives a little bit of separation between all the different components. And if every student from one particular module emailed me in the same format for whatever reason, all the emails would align perfectly in terms of the subject. Putting in mechanical engineering instead of DT0022, I don't like that because the code is very easily identifiable. I know all of my codes. If it's TU881, then I know exactly what that code is for. Or if it's TU123, I know what that code is for. So you don't have to put in the program name. The code is sufficient. It means that the subject isn't super long that it goes off the edge of my email. So that subject construction takes time. And if students don't do that properly, I tend to remind them in class and say, look, you're still not following my rules. Please follow my rules. The reason that I ask students to follow my rules is if they do, I react well to that. I say, do you know what? That student, they understood exactly what I asked. They gave me what I asked, so I'm going to respond quicker. If you just send me an email with a blank subject, one, I'm going to think it's spam. And if I do look at it and I say, student roll, I roll. Student didn't listen at all to what I was asking them to do, I'll put it out for an hour or two and I won't reply, because if you give me the time, I'll give you the time. That's the way I look at it. I get so many emails from so many students on a regular basis. Those that put forward that idea and learn that lesson so that it just becomes second nature to them to do it that way. That it's like email isn't WhatsApp. You can't just go smiley face, goodbye. No, it is a formal communication channel between myself, yourself, you and your classmates, you and researchers, you and industry. So don't just think that you can put in whatever you want. Sure, it'll be grand. No, I would prefer you didn't, because if it becomes second nature, then you have that professional aesthetic or at least etiquette to your emails, and then it will serve you well in the future. Trust me. It served me well in industry for many years, and it also serves me well here in TU Dublin as well. So just take the extra 30 seconds to write your subject correctly.